Welcome to Arts Roll Call, a podcast showcasing artists and arts organizations, highlighting the role of the arts today in Greater Lansing. I'm Robin Miner-Swartz. I'm an editor, communications consultant, and a lifelong arts advocate. And today I'm talking with Mikeyy Austin, a Lansing hip-hop artist, musician, and band leader. Mikey's roots come from growing up as a church musician and have blossomed into performances that combine elements of soul and jazz, playing drums, keys, bass, and guitar. He's created memorable Lansing concerts, including the Black Arts Matter celebration and a night at the Soul Lounge. And in 2017, Mikeyy released his debut album, Lifted, to critical acclaim. And since then, he's released a mixtape, a handful of singles, a 3-song EP, and in 2020, another album called Greenhouse. In addition to his work as a musician, Mikeyy is also the director of Our Space 517, which produces 517 Juneteenth and other initiatives highlighting local art and artists, and cultivating robust entrepreneurial districts in partnership with people, organizations, and businesses and local groups. That's a lot. Hi, Mikeyy. Get in here and let's talk about this. Welcome to Arts Roll Call.
Thanks for bringing me in here, and thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you all. I'm excited to dive in today.
Good. Me too. I really enjoyed reading about you, and so I'm excited to have this conversation. Could you talk a bit about your background as a musician? How did you grow into a hip-hop artist?
Yeah, for sure. My roots definitely came from growing up in the church, being a musician, playing, really just falling in love with music there. I would say some of my earliest memories, thinking back to like Easter Sunday and Christmas when we used to have our youth programs, and my mom would force us to do different performances, do our poems, do our speeches. So I think then that got me really comfortable just being in front of people. And then she got really creative and she started trying to write us raps. So as
your mom did?
Yeah. As
That's
probably
great.
6 or 7 years old, she wrote a rap for us, and we would perform it at church, and they called us them Austin boys. So I would say that's where a lot of it started, just being in front of people and, really using music to spread whatever message that was and express myself in that way. And as I got a little bit older, since music was something I was really interested in, I wanted to really just kind of dabble in all the different aspects. So I started teaching myself how to play. I think the drums came first. And then that led to the piano, and then that led to guitar. I think that interest really just spread from there. So having that background just in music, in the church, but then also the live instrumentation aspect, and having a long experience of being a rapper, 6-year-old rapper, I think that's where it all started. And then as I just got a little bit older, going through high school and really just tracing back hip hop and hip hop's origin, I started to fall in love with a lot of different things that resonated with me, whether that was Tribe Called Quest or the Roots Band. That was the first time I heard jazz and live instrumentation combined with hip hop. And I would say like those early 90s, throughout the 90s, hip hop really made me fall in love and really resonated. And it's been history ever since.
That's great. So you grew up in Lansing, as you said, but rather than head for a bigger city to pursue music, you stayed here. What do you love about Lansing, and why did you choose to stay?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of things to love about Lansing. I think when you think about, different people, everyone's journey is different, and everyone leaves for different reasons or they stay for different reasons. I think my story's still being written, so I'm not quite sure where all the things that I do might take me. I do think in a lot of cases people leave for maybe bigger cities or different markets in pursuit of like what it is they're going for. So if it's a lifestyle that they're going for, if it's, getting their art to a bigger market or bigger crowd or just that recognition, I think that those are all valid reasons to want to go and try to figure it out somewhere else. I think for me, music has always kind of been secondary, or art has always kind of been like a vehicle to drive other things I'm really passionate about. So if I'm really passionate about building community or creating opportunities or creating platforms, I know that art has always been a vehicle that drives itself essentially. So I've always really used that as a vehicle. And I think when I'm putting, community first, or building platforms or building events and initiatives for things that I really care about or that's really important to me, I think it makes sense why, I'm still kind of rooted in this community. I think using art to be able to create those changes that I want to see is part of the reason why I'm still here. I think as long as I'm here, that means that there's still work to be done. And even when I leave, I think there's still that work that can continue to be done. So I think right now I'm trying to build something that's bigger than me, that's sustainable, and whether or not I don't. A lot of people know I spent a little while in Puerto Rico. So whether I'm in Puerto Rico or if I'm still here in Lansing, I want to have something that I can continue to build and something that's bigger than me and sustainable. So yeah, I would say while I'm here, I'm still kind of building things. And then if ever I do leave or whatever the future holds, my goal is to always be able to still have roots here in Lansing.
I really appreciate the way you framed all of that. That's because I think that I'm also from here and chose to stay here, and I think that I like hearing other people talk about that choice to stay here, because there is such opportunity and there's potential to do a lot of this community building and art making that you're talking about. I'm wondering what kinds of things happened to you along your path that made you think, yeah, I'm headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I think really just trial and error. I think even now people might look at me and think that, I got my things together and I'm headed in the right direction. And little do they know, I probably have, mental breakdowns every other day. But no, I think we're all just trying to figure it out. And I think that's been the testament to me. But I think when, I think a lot of times that extra pressure that, we as artists, we put in ourselves is because we kind of know the vision that, we have for ourselves or the impact that we want to have or just the reach that we want to have. So when we don't see those things immediately, I think it can, get discouraging. But I think when we have those glimpses of success or in my case, when, we put on an event where a ton of people come out and they have great feedback and you see just the joy and the excitement in the room, or you spend a lot of time on a body of work, whether that's a painting or album or whatever it is, and you see that it resonates with people. I think that those are the things that kind of keep you going and let you know that you're headed on the right track. So I would say that that's been the case for me. And I also think as I grow as an artist, all those other elements, like I said, if I use art as a vehicle to do those other things, as I see those other things continue to grow, I also see the art growing with it. And that's how I know I'm kind of headed in the right direction.
How does Lansing show up in your music and the other projects you're creating?
For sure. I would say Lansing shows up in a lot of different elements. If you listen to just the stories, I would say that I'm a storyteller. So whether that's in my music or even in the events that we put on, we do a lot of marketing around it. I would say that the marketing is an art form in and of itself. And I would say that a lot of those things are drawn just from my own personal experiences. So whether that's things that I've lived through, things that I'm currently living through, whether that's friendships, relationships, I think all of those things are part of my story, and Lansing is really at the center of it. So I think Lansing really shows up, and I think my call to artistry and what it is that I want to accomplish. And I know for myself, I always have this thing inside of me where I really just want to make the city proud, essentially. So I think that shows up in a lot of the things that I do, a lot of the work that I do. People talk about the passion that they see behind my artistry or advocacy or the things that I do. A lot of it's because, I want to see that impact for the people in the city that I love, the people that I love. So yeah, I would say in a sense, it's wanting to make Lansing proud. And yeah, I would say at the center of it, that's probably really what it is. If you take all those other layers off, that's probably at the center of it.
Well, and you can really see that impact, right? Because of the size of the community and the connections that you can have across such a broad section of the community, you actually get to see the reactions and the impact.
For sure. Yeah, you can definitely see it. The reactions of just the spaces that we're able to really create outside of, the reactions and the feedback, but even you can see it in real time. And for me, I know that I have to take a little bit more time to be in the moment and really when you're putting on events, your mind is everywhere. You're thinking about a million things and you're running anywhere and everywhere. But there are those moments where I'm able to really just kind of stop and you see the diversity of people that's there. You see people from all different walks of life. You see people in rooms that you wouldn't expect to see in rooms, whether it's people that I grew up with, dancing with our state senator or whoever it might be. It's a little bit of everyone. So I think Lansing is unique in that sense where, you're always an arm's length away from somebody that you wouldn't expect to be from. So I think that that's really cool, and seeing that in our events and in our initiatives. I think that's a true testament to what Lansing is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've described the way I describe Lansing to a lot of people as well, and it's all, I'm always so glad to hear people have that same impression that there's accessibility here because of the way the community's built. Well, and to that point, you've collaborated with a whole lot of people and organizations throughout the region, including All of the Above Hip Hop Academy and Rio Town. So, why is this collaboration important, and what has grown out of some of these connections?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. I would say for me, collaboration is at the center of everything that we do. Just that idea of being able to create spaces that's for all of us. I think for me, that makes all of us better. So whether it's, entrepreneurship or business, whether that's artistry, I think when we're able to collaborate and create spaces that's for all of us, it makes us all stronger, it makes us all better, it makes us all more artistic. And I would say, for me, having been someone that appreciates working, by myself, but then also appreciates that collaboration, I see the benefit in it. And even to that point of being a part of All the Above Hip Hop Academy, I would say for me, I started hanging out with those guys, Ose Moore and James Garden and Joshua Smith. I was probably 18 or 19 years old. And for me, I would go to all of those shows just to be around the art and just to learn. And at the time I was doing music, but I was going to those events taking photos. So I would be at every single event, taking pictures of Jose, taking a picture of James, partially because I wanted to be in that environment where I could learn. I would say a lot of the things that I do now, even performing live, I replicate or I learned from Jose or I learned from these other people. So I would say for me, that collaboration really helped me to grow. Just seeing how other people approach the art form and seeing how other people really just get up for those things and how they take it serious and their work ethic and all those things. And I think that I start to, on a personal level, start to kind of duplicate that. And then just seeing how that collaboration has really impacted me, whether it was putting on events, and now because it's not just a Mikeyy thing, but it's a AOTA thing and this organization over here thing, seeing how the community comes together for those things. I think that there's a difference between me just going to see this person or watch this person versus me going to be a part of this thing. And I think really since the beginning of everything that we've done, whether it was our Rio Town sessions in 2016 or Black Arts Matter, like everything has had that collaboration at the center. So bringing different artists, bringing entrepreneurs and vendors to really display this is what Lansing looks like versus this is what I look like. And I think that that resonates a lot more, a lot further when we're able to put collaboration at the center.
Well, and I think part of what you're describing too, what I love about a lot of, particularly in recent years, new events that have popped up, but I honestly, for longer than that, arts and community building really seem to go hand in hand in Lansing. And you've been involved in a lot of those projects. What other projects do you want to see happen that combine those things?
For sure. Yeah, I would love to continue to see, I would say for me, we do a ton of different initiatives, but like I said, art is really that vehicle. So like I always say, you might see 100,000 people come to like an art festival, whereas you might only see 10,000 or 5,000 come to like a conference. So we want to be able to continue to use art to drive education, to drive health, to drive wellness. And that's what we're really planning on doing between our space and all the different initiatives that we're a part of, is to continue to drive those other things that we're passionate about and that's important to us, but use art really as the center. So I definitely want to see that. I definitely just want to continue to see that collaboration with artists, with different organizations coming together to make, a separate vision, a shared vision. And that's what I see happening in a lot of the things that we're doing. And then just that continued promotion of both arts and culture. I think a lot of times it's easy to have one without the other. And maybe that's why people go to different markets, or maybe that's what people are searching for a lot of times. But for me, I'm always looking to figure out how can we promote art and promote culture at the same time. And I think through that, that's when you're able to create those spaces that really resonate with people. So I'd love to continue to see those things. I'd love to continue just to see the organizations come together to work towards initiatives, but then really push both arts and culture.
That's really cool. So you recently received a grant from the Arts Council of Greater Lansing. Can you talk about your relationship with them and how that grant was important to your work?
Yeah, for sure. I would say for just super thankful for the opportunity to collaborate with the Arts Council to continue to push the things that we're passionate about. I would say for me, we've been doing events, different initiatives for a really long time. Having those roots in Rio Town and kind of bouncing all over the city to do these different events and doing these different initiatives, I think at a certain point, for a lot of people, for a lot of artists, a lot of initiatives, they don't get off the ground, or a lot of times they aren't sustainable because you feel kind of like, you're in it by yourself, or you're the only person that sees the value in this thing, or maybe like people don't believe in this thing that I'm trying to create. So I think a lot of times as an artist, but then also as an organizer, it's easy to get discouraged, or like I said, for those different initiatives to really not get off the ground or not live past a certain point. So I think anytime that you can have organizations kind of come behind the different things that you're doing to support it, to on one hand, really kind of let you know what you're doing is important and it's impactful, but then also to put, whether it's money or resources behind that as well, that allows you to continue the work that you're doing. So I would say for myself, having been on one end of the spectrum, when it's like, man, I don't even want to do this anymore because it feels like discouraging a lot of times, or it feels like, I'm in this all by myself, to being able to see, whether it's the arts councils or the different incredible organizations that sponsor the work that we do, seeing that support and just the difference that it makes and the impact that it allows you to continue to make. So I would say for me, that's been my experience with the Arts Council, that it's extremely encouraging to be able to continue the work that you do. That we know intuitively it's important, it's impactful, but then it's just kind of like that extra encouragement and letting you know that those things are important and it does make a difference.
It's like a high five in the form of a grant, right?
Yeah,
It's like validation.
Exactly. I like that.
Well, so you're also a part of Our Space 517, and you're focusing on community voices and creating these community-driven events, including 517 Juneteenth. Tell us about what Our Space 517 is and what it's doing.
Yeah, for sure. So Our Space is a community-based organization where we really look to activate our different corridors using arts and culture as a vehicle to address those issues that we are passionate about. So really it came out of the 517 Juneteenth weekend. The 517 Juneteenth weekend first took place in 2021, so coming out of COVID. And just that feeling of, man, we got to get out, we got to do something, we have to enjoy our 2-3 months of nice weather that we are so lucky to have here in Lansing. But then also just that response to, like I said, culture is at the center of everything that we do. So wanting to really create spaces that promote the celebration of culture. I think a lot of times culture is looked at and maybe appreciated from afar, but to really be able to center culture and center diversity and all of those things, that was something that we really wanted to create. And Juneteenth is something that I've always been passionate about. I've had the opportunity to participate in Juneteenth festivals and celebrations, both here in Lansing and throughout the state since I was a kid. So for me, being able to create a space where we highlight how diverse Black culture is was important to me. I think a lot of times, we might think of it coming in just one form or in one fashion. But really Juneteenth, the first 517 Juneteenth festival, it was the goal of displaying, Black culture can come in this form or that form, or in this musical genre or this artistic genre, or in this business sector. So being able to create a space where all of those things were highlighted and really put forth for everyone to celebrate as well, that was extremely important for me. And that turned into the second year of Juneteenth. And then really after that second year, and just seeing how everything doubled and tripled as far as what we saw the first year, and seeing how quickly those things just began to kind of take off, we realized really just kind of sat down and said, this is what we're doing. We're creating a space that's for us. And it's not, just necessarily a space for one demographic or for one person or for one organization, but it's really a space for everyone to come together and celebrate those things that we are all passionate about. So whether that is culture, whether that is diversity, whether that's health, whether that's wellness, but using things like art to really drive those different things. Because as we know, art is that common ground. So that's something that we really were intentional about creating, but then also realizing it's not our space if it's just us that's there. It's not our space if it's just me or just my friends that stay up at 3 o'clock in the morning, putting basketball hoops up and tearing down stages, but a true representation of our spaces when we're able to bring together those different artists, bring together those different businesses. And then we also saw the impact that it had, whether that was the economic impact that it had, whether we see what it does in creating a really vibrant arts and culture scene here in Lansing, seeing what that does for the things to do scene in Lansing. So just seeing all those residual impacts that it had really made us take that our space thing serious. And now that's our goal, is to really activate corridors throughout Lansing all year round. So instead of it being this isolated moment, how can we build on that to really promote arts and culture, while also, promoting health, wellness, entrepreneurship, and all those other things that we're passionate about.
I like the way you're describing that too, because I think one of the things to come out of that pandemic time is we started to really understand in new and significant ways how important all those things are working together, that they can't happen in vacuums, that they need to be happening in concert with each other.
For sure. Yeah, I would say that that's definitely my experience. I think we all had a taste of it, of being in our silos. And to some of us, it might have been beneficial. I know, like my album, The Greenhouse, I recorded that all in my house, in my room by myself. I engineered it all, I mixed it all, put it all together. So I think, like, in that hand, it was nice to have just that experience of solitude and kind of being by yourself to really reflect. But then that also, and maybe a lot of great things came from that. But then it was also that reminder, like, man, I really miss, being able to meet up with other people and collaborate with other people. And even just kind of looking at like that body of work, it's like, yeah, this might be the best thing that I've created to date, but I can also hear, where things are missing, where this person would have said, hey, try it this way, or, have you thought about doing it this way? So I think on one hand, it may be easier, like when you're able to just go ahead and do it all yourself and just knock it out, versus kind of relying on other people or waiting on other people's schedules and timelines. But I also think that there's that element of really challenging yourself when you have other perspectives that are outside of your own. And I think that comes from collaboration. I think refining your craft, I think inspiration, all of those things come from collaboration. So I would say that's definitely something that I missed during the pandemic. I think, we all kind of learned a lot about ourselves, but coming out of it, I really realized, man, I do miss this. And that was my first mission, was how do we create community again? How do we start to establish collaboration again? And really came in the form of those different events.
Well, so 517 Juneteenth is now going into its third year. What are you planning for this year? And it's next month already, which I also don't understand how fast this has gone. But what are you planning for this year's event that people can look forward to?
For sure. Yeah. Like you said, it's coming up really quick. But I'm super excited just to be back in Rio Town for 4 days of events and activities. So last year we expanded the single day festival to an entire weekend of events. And we'll be doing the same thing again this year. So I guess you'll hear it here first, but Juneteenth weekend kicks off that Thursday at the Cadillac Room for our Black History, Black Future seminar. So we'll really be talking about how can we leverage culture for economic growth. So really diving into what that looks like. We'll have incredible speakers and panel discussions, and we'll end that event out with a mixer, just a time to be able to celebrate together. From there, we always do our Juneteenth ice cream social. So shout out to Milk Means More. They focus on the nutritious values of dairy, and each year they support a Black-owned dairy-based organization. So this year we have Sweet Encounters downtown Lansing. They'll be in Rio Town with us, giving away around 600 free ice cream sandwiches and popsicles. We'll have music, we'll have breakdancing, we'll have what we call our mini-preneurs. They'll be out, so it's really youth-based, but it's really for everyone. So we encourage families and children to get out. And we'll also have PNC's mobile learning adventure there. So there's going to be a ton of really cool things if you have children between the ages of 0 to 5. It's like a whole adventure where they can go through. At the end of it, they take pictures and really any profession that they want to be when they get older. And then they have it framed for them as well. So that's a really cool experience. And then our big day is the 517 Juneteenth Festival. So we'll shut down South Washington Avenue with vendors lined up both sides of the street with our stage right in the middle. We'll have our kids zone. We'll have our battle of our cues, our different barbecue options, our different food. And then as always, we have our live music and performances. So we have Grammy-nominated R&B artist Kenyon Dixon coming from Los Angeles, and Grammy Award-winning singer, producer, songwriter Gwen Bunn also coming from Los Angeles, and then a ton of local artists, performers, musicians as well. So it's going to be a really full day. And then we always try to end it with a lot of, kind of chilling out, knowing that we have work the next day. I don't think we should, though, because Juneteenth is a federal holiday, so we should have that Monday off. But we want to end the weekend just kind of coming down a little bit. So we always end it with the Father's Day jazz night. So we can expect that on Sunday, and that's our Juneteenth weekend. So it's going to be really full.
It sounds amazing, and I hope somewhere each of those days you get a chance to like step to the side and just look at it all and see what you've created and helped bring to the community. Because, like you said, it sounds like you're just moving and overwhelmed and doing all the stuff. But I hope you get a chance to enjoy it too.
Yeah, I'm definitely. If you see me eating 16 ice cream sandwiches, just mind your business. That's my problem to deal with. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. And I'm definitely, now that we have an incredible team kind of with the lift, I know we'll have a ton of incredible volunteers. Hopefully I'll be able to take a little bit of time just to enjoy and dance and celebrate with everyone. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
That's great. Well, Mikeyy, where can folks find you online?
Yeah, for sure. You all can follow me really on everything at Mikeyy Austin, MIKEYY-AUSTIN. If you're interested in the work that we're doing with Our Space 517 and with the Juneteenth Festival and really all the other festivals and events that we're planning for this summer in Lansing, you can follow us at Our Space 517, or you can visit us at ourspace517.com.
Mikeyy, it has been such a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you for everything you're doing for the community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure meeting you, and really a pleasure just to be on this platform and share a little bit.
Well, it's a great story, and I hope a whole lot of people come out and check out your events and all the things that you're bringing to Lansing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
This podcast has been a production of the Arts Council of Greater Lansing. To learn more about them, go to lansingarts.org.